Hi, and welcome to the third episode of the Geelong Chats podcast. Really excited to share this episode with you as I've completed another interview, this time with Troy West. You might be asking yourself, who is Troy West? Well, footy fans and people across Australia commonly know him as Catman. Troy and I had a really good chat about his father, who was in the 1963 Geelong Premiership team, his years growing up following the Cats, the evolution into Catman, and we had a good discussion about pretty much everything involved with being Catman. A big thank you to Troy for being so honest and genuine with his answers. I really enjoyed the conversation and I hope you enjoy the episode. G'day Troy, how you going?
Hi mate, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Did you make it up to Sydney for the game on the weekend or did you stay put in Victoria?
No, I stayed in Victoria. I had a gather round in Melbourne with my sister. We saw 5 games in 2.5 days. So
Oh,
yeah.
far out. And one of them wasn't the Cats. What are the chances of that on a weekend?
Fortunately, I was at another game, and I only saw it on the app, and I thought, oh, we're all right, but that many goals up, we're right, and then bang. Then I saw someone make some comment, oh no, not doing the winners' dance tonight, Catman. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, what do you point up?
No, and it was the first game I've been to this year, and sure enough, it was the one where they've choked a 39-point lead, but it's all right. There's
Yeah,
still time, hopefully, for the rest of the year, but fingers
yeah,
crossed. We'll see how they go. Hey,
yeah.
before I get started into the obvious that most people would know you for being Catman, I thought I'd sort of go back a few years and talk with you about how you became Catman, but also about your childhood, how you grew up to become a Cats fan. And I don't know how many people would know that your father actually played for the Cats. Are you happy to talk a bit about growing up and having a dad that played for the Cats?
Yeah. I did. It was normal life to me. I didn't know I had a superstar dad for a footballer. So even like the legends of the game, like Doug Wade and Polly Farmer and all them. I thought they were just friends of Dad's and called him uncle, and they used to come to the house and go out to events with them. And realizing now down the track that it was they were very special people. But one of Dad's players, they called him his mates. I called him uncle. So I didn't even know Uncle Bill. I think it was Bill Miller. He wasn't a premiership player, but he played with Dad. So yeah.
Yeah,
It was
well, and
good.
that
Yeah,
was
that's where it all started. Had no
yeah,
choice.
that's what I was going to ask you. I guess later on was sort of, did you get the chance to mingle or see the players growing up? So it sounds like you well and truly did have a great experience growing up with those players.
Yeah, well, Dad nearly got recruited by he got went down to train with Essendon. He lived in Great Western in the Western District or Wimmera, and Essendon told him to go home because he's too skinny. And in Melbourne and Geelong were showing interest, and his brother said, "Look, Melbourne are a really good team. You'll get, and Geelong's like a big country town. That was then, not now. And you'll get in the team quicker, in the selection quicker if you go to Geelong." So Dad picked Geelong because his brother said that. So I could have been D-man. I was that close to being D-man.
Oh wow, we're sliding towards the moment. That's a great trace for obviously Geelong and yourself. But I did a little bit of research myself on it, and I'm sure, like I said, people probably wouldn't have known your dad played for Geelong, but he must have been a hell of a player. He for 108 games, a 63 premiership, but most notably for me was the 61 Cargi in a team that had Billy Godwin, Doug Wade, and Alistair Lord, who won the Brownlow the next year.
Yeah, in his first year too, it was his rookie year as a fullback. So that's not common when you're winning from fullback position in your first year. So he had a stellar year in his first year at the Cats. It was great.
Yeah, and a team that I read came sixth as well, half a game out of the top four in the final. So it wasn't as if the ball was living down there, by the looks of it, at least. What I
No,
found with
no,
my research.
it wasn't the greatest year that year. No, it came 2 years later, obviously, and then then it was all changed. But for all my life, I've been saying, "Oh, my dad played in the last premiership we ever got." So when 2007 came, I couldn't say that anymore.
You held on
Uh,
to that for 44 years at
uh,
least. So, and
uh, uh,
did he talk to you much about, I guess, his time at Geelong and any particular stories he told you?
Your dad had not tempestuous, but he wanted to be. He had a falling out with some hierarchy there, and I know that problem. And he wanted to he pushed for a move to Melbourne, even mid career, even before. Like I was telling you before, that was before his career started. But he wanted to go to Melbourne. He was pushing. He was very very angry. He didn't get. John said no. So anyway, when Dad got recruited, he got colour television, give it to him, and they said we'll give it back when you retire, and they gave him a black and white one at the end of it.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Big
yeah, it
flex
was
there.
very
It's just a
funny.
black and white telly.
Yeah, and he also won a stereo too. I think it was a stereo. He got best on ground. A fan telegram said if you get best on ground, Roy, I'll send you what was it, a stereo or something, and he never saw it, and the club kept it. So he didn't have
Oh, no.
the greatest relationship with him at the time, but it all ended up being fine. He was just they have problems like that now. The clubs, nothing's changed. Sometimes players think they're bigger than the club, and they get annoyed, and they get ditched or recruited or dropped or whatever. So it was no different then, just different scenery here.
Yeah, sure. Well, the times have certainly changed in terms of the pay, I'm sure, and the prizes or rewards they get, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Compared
you got a
to back
job
in
at
the
a
day.
carpet factory, getting paid next to nothing. So yeah,
Okay. Oh, well, no,
yeah,
we are very lucky. The players now in particular are very fortunate.
yeah.
The times have changed. So I guess growing up and having that sort of background in your family, was there a particular point where you became really in love with the Cats?
Yeah, I was very, very, very young because Mum used to, take us when we were like back in those days. Wives and families didn't get any special treatment in any stands. You were in the outer with all the riffraff, and we'd sit out there. And then I started going about. My mum stopped going for mum, and then I started going. Actually, after Dad retired, 'cause I was too young, of course. And then I started going with about 10 or 12 with my friend and his mother, and we had those clappers that you used to when you clap your hands. And that was my first incident when I started annoying the public and standing out. I wanted to stand out. That worked.
Yeah, sure. And so, what sort of age? So you said like about 10 or 12 when
Yeah,
you
10
sort of
or
started
12.
going
Then
to
I
those
got
games.
and when I was 14, I got a big flag. I was so proud of myself. I got this big, what I thought was a big flag because it wasn't cheer squad back then. I was just in the stands and the Brownlow side of the stand, I think.
Yeah.
And I had what I would call a big flag. It wasn't big probably now, but now the 4 meter flags. But I was so proud of it. I just always wanted to stand out. I don't know what it was in me. I just always never wanted to be like everyone else. I wanted to stand out with a flag or the way I dressed, or even when I was going to nightclubs in the 80s,
Yeah.
I was just dressing up and being crazy.
Yeah. No, that's all good. Nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. And in the 80s and 90s, were there particular players you were really like your favorites or particular games you remember really well?
No, I walked away from the game in 83. I
Okay.
discovered nightclubs when I was 18, discovered nightclubs in Boy George and dressing up, and I did that from 83 till 90. Went off the rails a lot and got crazy. And I thought one day I was living near the MCG actually, nothing to do with foot. Hadn't been since 83, and it was 1991 then, 90, sorry. And back then we had telephone books, and it was like a sign. It was a grand final of Essendon and Collingwood, I think, 1990, yeah.
Yeah.
And they used to throw torn up paper back then, like they called it snow,
Yeah.
and you used to tear up phone books out of the phone boxes, and a little bit of paper landed in the back yard, and it wasn't my name, but it was West, and they'd torn off just happened to be the West section of the phone book, came from the MCG, which is like a couple of k's away,
Yeah.
and just flowed through there into the backyard, and I thought, oh, is that a sign to go back to footy?
Well,
And I had I had one friend left that was connected to football. I was on the nightclub scene I was on, party scene, and he said, you should go to a game again. So, and I had shaved eyebrows then, I've been crazy, and he used to paint them on. So I thought I'll go dressed as a bogan. So I put moccasins on and a beanie, and I painted my eyebrows on naturally, and it was a really close game at Princes Park against Carlton.
Yeah.
And I must have been doing this, and I'd rubbed them off, and I had smudge marks up here, and these people were looking at me. I thought, what are they looking at me for? I thought it looked like a bogan, and I fitted in. But then I got home and I saw just nothing but round smudge. So that was, yeah. I grew them back very quickly,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that
And
triggered
then
me. That triggered me to start going. And then it was in 1995 grand final. I went to 94 as well, 92. They just dressed normal. I thought I had these platform shoes, and I thought I'd paint them. They were black and red, and I thought paint them blue and white and wear them to the grand final. And so I wore them to the grand final. I get a bit of attention. I like being abused. I love people yelling and saying things at me. That's why it doesn't bother me, all the trolling now. So I come from an era where we loved getting abused. We dress up intentionally, get abused in the street. So this guy yelled at, I was back when Priscilla, Queen of Desert, was out. And he goes, oh, it's Priscilla, Queen of the MCG. I thought, I'm back. This is it. I
this
love
is the
it.
calling.
So I had a jacket, actually, it was Boy George had a jacket and had pins all over it. It was like safety pins hanging off it. And I thought I'll incorporate and stick a signs over it and sew on patches. And sorry, that was a fire. And I thought I'll do a Geelong version of that nightclub jacket. So got a denim jacket and got the sleeves, and that's where it all began, Catman. And then actually I was walking down there's lots of rumours going around how I got my name. I was literally walking down the concourse at the MCG, I don't know what game it was, and this guy yells, "Oh, look, it's Catman," being a dickhead. And I thought, I really like that. So that's where I adopted it. It's just guy yelled it in the crowd, walking past me, and I thought, that's my name.
And it is stuck. Oh, it's a
And that
great name.
stuck.
It's
Yeah,
perfect, really.
well,
Yeah,
stuck.
it
Yeah,
goes very,
yeah,
very
yeah.
well. And I'm sure there's plenty of people around Australia, Cats fans are not, very familiar with the name. So, no, I think it's a good
Oh,
choice.
yeah. I was at the footy the other night. Actually, the James Bunn excuse when I said we lose game. And I was at the game now. I was sitting at as just as Troy like this. It
Yeah.
was a Hawthorn game, I think, Carlton. And I heard these guys when it was pissing down rain. He goes, "Oh, he's behind me." Didn't know it was me, Catman. He just goes, "Oh, James Bunn blamed the weather." Like he just said that. I couldn't stop laughing. So it must be in the consciousness of the AFL world of my James Bunn excuses. I'm
Yeah.
laughing. Yeah.
And during the 90s with those grand finals and whatnot, that great team we had, were there particular memories of the games or any players? Like, I mean, there's a few obvious ones, but were there particular players you really were drawn to?
Look, was really well. We all loved Ablett, Ablett Senior. Like he was, but people legend go. It's funny, like when you look back on legends, yeah, they just talk about Senior. Gary Senior has just he was incredible, not denying that, and he was flashy and incredibly tough. But he would go through, and I was in the cheer squad then. He'd go through months of just doing nothing because his head wasn't right, or he was having trouble whatever he's in his life, and he would just be quiet. And then he left to follow God, and then came back, and he'd do nothing for weeks. Some days he did nothing all day, and then he did something fantastic at the end of the game and becomes a hero. It's funny how folklore changes things. I remember very quiet times with Gary, but then he'd just be miraculous for like 4 weeks in a row, and then he was up and down. But when he was up, he was up. My God, he was just I loved him, and he's a very, despite what people say and what he's been through, always a gentleman. I'd see him at training. He would engage me, talk about my dogs. I had a dog with me at training, and my dad used to see him at the some of the functions. And he said he was the only player that engaged him and said hi, Roy, and gave him the time of day. So he did have his demons, but he was a gentleman, Gary Senior. So he's my favourite. I know it's a cliche. I love Buddha Hocking too. He was nuggety and tough. And the standout games, I don't know. I was when I think it was second set final. I think against Footscray, and Billy Brown was roosted that ball, and we got into the grand final. But yeah, the grand finals weren't very memorable.
No, it was good they made
Yeah.
it, but probably not the fondest memories. 89, I guess, is probably the one that bit before. Obviously, you sort of got back into it, but that's probably the only one
Yeah.
that gets replayed at all by Cats fans, if at all by anyone.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, it was a spectacular game. I know it's not because you lose, but for if you win, it's a great, even better game. But it was a great game to watch. Yeah, if you take your Geelong hat off.
Yeah, for sure. You've already talked a bit about how Catman came to be, but with the attire and the face paint, did it generate pretty quickly in the 90s, or is it something that's evolved over the
No, I
last
just
20
used to.
years?
I used to do it. I thought I'm only going to do it at the finals time.
Mhm.
So grand finals, a big game, and then it became finals. And then it became finals and blockbusters. And then I said, I'm never going to go. I used to wear a mask, just a mask and nothing else. Sometimes not even a mask, just a silly wheel. So I'm not going to start doing makeup again. 'Cause I used to do it years ago back in the nightclubs, but not doing makeup. And then, of course, the makeup started, didn't it? And then I decided to get contact lenses. Now decided to do fangs in my teeth. So, yeah, those fangs have been a drama. I've got lost a pair, got another pair stolen, another pair burnt, and I've got a new pair now. So.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And so is there a particular year, I guess, where you just sort of started to do it as a regular occurrence every game?
Yeah, because when I would do it, Blockbuster, to get people go, oh, why aren't you doing? Oh, I wanted to get a photo with Catman. Oh, and then they get all disappointed. So I thought I'm just going to do it every week.
Yeah.
So I did every week, but we had a business back then, like a very successful B&B business and a wedding venue and parties and functions and up in the country near Bendigo. So getting to games was getting really tough, and I'd have to sometimes, I thought, to cut time, I'd just do my mouth and wear a mask, and so I'll get off quickly at home before I had to get into me waiting gear and cook and run after people. So it was a bit of a juggle, and I had to give it up for about 4 years. I gave my membership up because it just got too hard to get back home to work. So yeah.
Yeah. And sort of how long do you think generally it takes you to get ready before a game, and as well? How long does it take to get the kid off after a game?
Well, I get ready in Melbourne. We've got a place in Melbourne as well. So I get ready in Melbourne on weekends. And okay, so for a Geelong game at 7:30, I have to start getting ready at 10:30 in the morning. So
Wow,
it's
what are the
10:30,
steps?
11:30, 12:30, 1:30, and then I have squeeze something to eat. And then I start to get the combination right, like the wigs, and 'cause I don't just go, I'll bang and walk out the door. It's like I can't get it right. I just keep changing headband, wig, clothes, wig, head, and then I'll go click, and it just clicks into place. And then I've got to pack the bags. I carry 5 flags. It's a lot of equipment. Yeah, I carry, and I have 2 female friends, and they are really good too. They help me, with, like pack horses. They're very good to me. So it's a very, very big day. And then of course I get to the footy, and then it's crazy, despite what people say and read online. I'm extremely popular on game day. Opposite online, they're horrible, but on game day, everyone's just, they come at me and it's getting to a stage I don't really need bloody security. They just come lunging at me in groups of 20, like trying to pull me necklaces off and souvenir themselves and signatures and photos. And it's really lovely. Actually, it's lovely. And then it just, so it's very overwhelming. And then I get home. And then I have to do content after a game, whether for Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. So if we lose, I make some fun videos as you've seen with the cat up the tree.
Yeah.
And then if we win, I do the dance at the ground. So by the time I get to bed at 3 a.m., so it's a very, very long day.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to what you said in terms of the people sort of swarming to you. I know the last game I went to in Melbourne was the prelim against Hawthorn last year, and I did make my way down towards the cheer squad, and sure enough, absolutely, there was a queue to get photos with you. I couldn't wait that long, but yeah, I can attest to the fact that there absolutely are queues of people to get photos with you.
I would have given you a hug and a photo, mate. You should have waited.
Well, I'll make sure next time I'm in Victoria, I'll let you know, and I'll get in the queue and make sure.
Where are you based? You're in Sydney?
I'm based
Canberra.
in Canberra. So
Canberra,
yeah, I used to get to a lot of games when I was younger and didn't have kids, but now it's hard to get a leave pass. So I try and save it up for September. So fingers crossed it might happen again this year.
Oh, good. Be kind to the missus until then, mate. You might get a pass.
And how do you go regularly? You probably, I assume anyway, watch the replays sometimes. How do you find it watching yourself on the television? I know your face pops up pretty regularly on the telecast.
Yeah, well, last weekend they said, "Oh, Catman's taking his fangs out. He's Geelong to lose." And I thought, "You smart asses!" I was actually taking him out to eat because I'm so paranoid. Because I had a pair stolen a few years ago when I was eating a bit of cake down behind a caravan at the ground up the other end when they got pinched. So who would souvenir my fangs on? Because they're custom made fitted fangs. So I had a lovely story with it at the football. Do you want to hear the story about the Fangs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I was at the football a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and it was at Marvel and playing Essendon. My friend, it was on Facebook. He'd seen me talking about my Fangs being stolen, and he messaged me. I didn't know anything about him. He's just a Facebook friend, and he said to me, "Oh, Troy, we're down. I got tickets in the St Kilda cheer squad area, and a guy's just threatened to put me back in a coffin and send me back to Geelong if I kept cheering in front of me and my 2 young sons." I said, "You got any spare seats?" I said, "Sure, come up here, Mark." So I got him some seats next to the cheer squad. Anyway, so lo and behold, he's a CEO of about 60 dental companies, and he said, "I'm happy to make your fangs for you, Troy," and that cost nearly $3,000. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is crazy luck. It's just the best. And I actually went digital and they fitted, and I could shut my mouth like a cat because the other pair of fangs were made in Bendigo and they weren't made very well. So my teeth would hit together and keep my mouth open and dry it out. So these were like my own teeth. And of course, during the fires in Harcourt this year, sorry, January, I am doing a documentary on my life, a short documentary, and the guys were coming up to film up in the country here where I live. So I bought all the best stuff from Melbourne to get ready for them, and they delayed it because they had one of them's a photographer, the women's football or whatever. So he goes, "I will come in December, hopefully." Anyway, they got delayed, and January, and of course, all my best of my best stuff, 60% of my best equipment was up there ready in the shed and got torched, and my fangs were there, my $3,000 fangs. I couldn't believe it. And my friend Mark, who's a fang guy, he actually said, "I'm already onto it. I'm getting you another pair made." So I'm blessed, I tell you. I'm blessed by incredible people around me. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's an incredible story. It's certainly the part about the fangs and whatnot. Obviously, not the part with the bushfires, but it's it's nice. It's nice to hear there's people like that out there still in the world. But you did touch on the bushfires, and really sorry when I did read about that earlier in the year. Have you been able to get some stock back into your collection in your cat cave, or is it still a slow process?
No, it's not. I've got a little cat cave under the house in Melbourne. I've emptied a lot of stuff out of the main one up here, and I have refurbished and furnished that with a lot of my really favourite stuff. So my really, really good stuff is down there, and plus a month before the fires, because I don't do media stuff up here anymore because I used to catch a bus from Harcourt and go to the footy, but now I don't catch the bus. We go to Melbourne now, so that doesn't get used. So I was just sitting there. All my stuff was in this big cat's room doing nothing, and my mum's got a shrine to my dad, but one wall at mum's was just all family in-law stuff, and she didn't really want that because it didn't look good in dad's shrine she's got. So I said, Mum, I'll bring all dad's my favourite stuff of dad's from his walk, and no one sees it in that dark room up in the shed. So I bought it a month before my best of my favourite of dad's memorabilia. So that was saved. I couldn't believe my luck. Why I decided to do that then, I don't know. So that's the upside of I have lost a lot of dad's memorabilia still, like a lot of his magazines and photos, but the best of the stuff was saved because of that. So but the shed hasn't been built. I'm not building another cat cave. I'm just doing a really sexy gym now, and that's all I'm doing. So the people have been very kind and they're not listening. I said they were sending me stuff, frame stuff the day after the fires. I got, mate, I'm saying there's still shit everywhere. There's still ashes here and there's not flames, there's smouldering. And they didn't listen. They just kept coming. They dropped stuff off at the footy club. They sent me in the mail, still coming, books, everything, CD, DVDs. You got no idea. And memorabilia. It's really lovely. So, but I've got nowhere to sort of put a lot of it. So it's slowed down now. That's good. But yeah, haven't built it yet. We've had it cleared and we're having issues with the permits because it's a heritage area. So it will eventually be done. It's just a matter of time. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's lovely to hear that those people quickly responded even when they weren't asked and still found in the kindness of their hearts to donate sort of stuff like that. So that's another nice thing to hear. Out of a podcast, I didn't anticipate to hear things like that. So that's really lovely.
Yeah.
Back to the footy, how do you find a game day? Like I know you've talked a bit about sort of the queues of fans. Do they generally wait till the end of quarters, end of games, or do you get a bit of interaction mid quarter?
Most are before the game or in between the breaks. It's very hard when I'm getting the flags ready because it's important to get the flags out because we have to have long 4 metre poles tape together and pull them out and get them all ready, and that's hard. But they come before the game. They come a bit during the game, which is annoying because A, you're watching it, and B, people behind you are when you see the game. But I do not much, but lately there've been a little bit between the games, and half time we go for a little walk in the concourse inside, and that's when it's crazy. Like they just jump. It's crazy. I can't explain another word. It's very good, and I've just photos like with groups and hundreds of people, hundreds of people, and signing autographs and doing video shout outs to people, and they word me up what to say. It's a really lovely feeling, actually. A lot of love, despite what they say on the internet that all Geelong fans and AFL fans don't hate me, think I'm a freak. They might online, but on game day, that's my truth, and the truth is nothing like that.
Yeah, no, that's really nice to hear in terms.
And after the game, they go nuts for a photo, especially we win. It's insane. And then, of course, we do the winners' circle, as you well know, outside the ground. When we win, we have a winners, get everyone involved in dancing. It's a real party atmosphere. Hasn't been for a few weeks, so.
Fingers crossed. We need to get back in the winners' circle, mind the pun. So a few 6 weeks left. Hopefully they can pull it back together. And at least we've got the wild card buffer, but we'll see. We'll see how they go.
I know, and I said there were people that were always putting that down. I was saying, everyone hates wild card round until you're in it.
Yeah, until you need it. Exactly. I know lots of people, Geelong fans, have been against it until probably the last couple of weeks, where all of a sudden it's a live possibility. So we find ourselves there. But we'll see. Fingers crossed. And with the current group, is there any particular players you really like?
Well, we all know the Baslenka story, don't we? So that's kind of very public, but it's not a sexual thing. It's just a lot of. He loves me. He follows me on Instagram. And I, of course, follow him, and he messaged me sometimes when he's asked me a question about something. He doesn't just say hi, but I sent him a message saying I'm only a joker, mate. It's all a bit of fun for a bit of social media stuff. And he said, I think you're a sick CUNT, and I love what you do. So that was pretty cool. I love Jeremy Cameron when he's at his prime. I'm really loving Max Holmes when he's starring. He's a little nuggety player. I love the current playing group. They just need to click into action and get bloody Ruckman. I don't know. And Shannon Neal's going to be a superstar. He's really good. He's looking like the next Tom Hawkins, so that's good. Yeah.
Look, that was all the questions I had. Thank you very much for the time making up. I know you're pretty busy being Catman and just not being Catman, so I really do appreciate the chance to talk to you. And I will make sure I come and find you when I'm hopefully in Melbourne for a final this year, and I'll get a photo with you.
All right, Leighton, you enjoy, mate. Thanks heaps.
No, thank you very much, Troy. Cheers.
Hello, Cat.